Hey everybody, it's Glenn Ackerman with Energy Awareness Training for our weekly class here on the different aspects of energy training, energy awareness. We've got a really good one for you today. We're going to be talking about the coronavirus, which is what everybody's talking about this weekend. It's all over the news, it's in the papers, and people are concerned about it. Now, you might wonder, well, why are you talking about, a coronavirus? I mean, what does that have to do with energy? What does it have to do with energy? It has everything to do with energy, because if you notice, there are, what is energy? We're gonna go over that. The energy, part of energy is a feeling, a vibration, a frequency, and the way you feel a vibration, and you can sure feel the energy around talking about this. You can feel the fear, you can feel the worry. Some people, you can even feel the panic of what's taking place, and that's an energy. So today we're gonna dive deep into what this means and the energy behind it. I'm gonna explain this totally and give you some great insight, because this is a great lesson for all you energy awareness training students about really understanding how the energies work, both externally and internally, and what to do about it, especially using your training, what to do about it. So we're discussing the coronavirus today and the energetic impact that it's making upon the world. Okay, so that's our topic for today. As people are coming on, I want to let you guys know that, again, I'm broadcasting here from the jungles of West Hollywood, and we do this every week. Every Sunday, I do a new broadcast, a new class on energy awareness training. And I never run out of material, because everything that we're dealing with is energy, everything. So, whatever the topic is, you can pick one from A to Z. Anything that we're doing on this planet, any activities, any projects, any processes that we're going through is all energy. So that's what we do here every week. Show you my weekly flowers that I get. Why? High vibrational energy, smell great, and they add a really nice balance and energy to my house. As people are coming on, I want to welcome everybody again to our Sunday morning class here, or at least it's morning out here on the West Coast. And welcome everybody coming on. Hey, Tatiana, Mayak. Oh, we've got people from all over the world here. That's fantastic. Babar. Hey, Adam. Hey, Manny. Great. Appreciate you guys coming in and being with me. If you would do me a favor and just say hi to me on the chat, and where you're from, any questions that you have or anything you'd like me to cover on this, I'd appreciate it, because it helps me get the broadcast out to more people. Today we're discussing the coronavirus and the energetic impact that it is creating in the world and for everyone. Now, so the agenda for today's class, get a good angle here. Yeah, the agenda for today's class, if you can see the light here, good, is I'm going to be going over energetic awareness, the fundamentals of energetic awareness, especially for those of you who are new to my work, and how important it is to be energetically aware. Since we're living in an energetic world, makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to give you a context and kind of an eye-opener of how energy works and the characteristics, because this is going to play right into discussing the coronavirus, and you're going to see the similarities and the fundamentals of energy awareness and energy and how energy works. And then I'm going to offer you some solutions, both energetically, emotionally, and physically. There's some things that I do. I'm, as a high vibration energy being, I'm very into health, and I have some suggestions for those of you who are interested in a holistic approach to this. Some suggestions that I do to keep yourself not only energetically safe, but also physically safe as well. Okay, so we're going to be going over that too. So we've got a power pack class ready to kick off here. Appreciate everybody coming on and saying hi. Let's go ahead and grab my coffee here. And some of the things I'm going to be working on, some of the things are going to be demonstrating here today, and let's get started. Okay, energy awareness and the coronavirus. Let's start by, those of you who are new, what energy awareness is and why should you care? You know, you hear that phrase kicked around all the time, energy, he's got good energy, or, fossil fuel energy, or you hear, new age people talking about crystals and fairies and energies like that. I mean, what's the dealio with this energy thing? Well, if you remember, and some of you may have heard this before, I'm going to do a couple of minutes to just get everybody up to speed on energy awareness. So you may have heard Albert Einstein when you were in junior high, the quote that says, everything is energy. Okay, and you think, oh yeah, okay, so that's interesting, but it didn't really mean much. And then maybe in high school or in college, you may have heard Nikola Tesla say that if you really want to understand the mysteries and the secrets of life, then you'll start to view things in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Okay, so that opened up the subject a little bit more, because if you put those two quotes together, everything is energy, and then you put Tesla's quote together that says everything has a frequency, energy is frequency and vibration, then you start to think, well, that means that everything has a frequency and a vibration to it, or what I call an energy signature code to it. And if you're able to recognize what those vibrations and frequencies are, you can see things and understand and get information that people who can't read or don't see it, they can't access that, and that gives you a major advantage in life. And in the personal development field, which I've been a part of for over 25 years now, one of the greatest things that we do, and for people who are interested in personal development or getting better, achieving more, having more, doing more, is we want to change, right? We want to go from here, and we want to get up here. So we're constantly working on ourselves, trying to improve ourselves and our lives and our situation. But if you're like me, in the attempt to do that, you let's say you're here and you're here and you want to be up here, you start to move up closer to what you want, and then all of a sudden, you can feel an energy or something pulling you back. And that's one of the challenges when we try to make change in our lives. We take 2 steps forward, we take 3 steps back. And especially it's illustrated with New Year's resolutions, with people who want to make changes in the first of the year. They say, hey, I want to make this change. Well, that's a good thing. You want to make change. And you start to make the change, and whether it's a week, 2 weeks or a month, you start moving forward, right? You start moving up. And then what happens? Some kind of force, or some kind of, call it a force, okay, or call it an energy or something, some motivational influence that pulls you back down. And now the things that you committed to, whether it's to lose weight or stop smoking or work out, you're not doing it. And that's been the case for most of us in personal development. We have a great start and we make progress, but we get pulled back. And whatever things that we're trying to change in our lives, we recognize that change is not easy. To break habits, not easy. To create new habits or new behaviors, not easy. And for so many years, I was in that personal development merry-go-round of taking 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. And if you do the math, that's not a lot of progress. It's a lot of effort, but it's not a lot of progress. And being certified in so many different fields, from A to Z, and teaching a lot of different personal development classes, I was able to attain a place of being able to work on my problem, being able to deal with it, whatever this thing that was holding me back, whatever the issues are, or whatever the old programming or the baggage that we all have, I was able to deal with it, but I wanted to get that sucker out. I didn't want to learn how to deal with it. I wanted to get it out. And it wasn't until I discovered the world of energy medicine, energy psychology, and worked with some world-class energy masters that had me be able to come to the work that I'm doing right now, which is I call energy awareness training. And how it works is this: instead of doing the personal development merry-go-round, going from book to seminar to class to class to, all this round and round that we all been going through for years. And that whole personal development industry only has a 3% success rate, 97% failure rate. Wow. What business or industry can you get in that has a 97% failure rate and people keep going? Well, this is the one. So I wanted to make permanent and lasting change. And one of the things I recognized in my education is that nothing changes until energy moves. Okay, and when I recognized that, I viewed that energy is like an iceberg. You've heard the iceberg analogy: 10% above the water you can see, 90% below the water you can't see. And the Titanic wasn't sunk by the 10% you could see; it was sunk by the 90% it couldn't see. So energy awareness training teaches that which we can see, you can control. You can do something about. That which you can't see controls you. And that was my eureka moment in being able to recognize that there are hidden forces, hidden energies that operate inside us that we can't see, but nonetheless are there, and they're influencing us daily. Now, what's cool about this class is I'm going to demonstrate how those forces work externally as well as internally. And that's what we're doing with the coronavirus. What we're going to do in the class today. These hidden energies, in my work, I've uncovered them, that they have a power, they have a purpose, they have a frequency, they have a direction they're going in, and they give off information. So this expands what Nikola Tesla taught. And when he said everything has a frequency and a vibration, I say, yeah, but even more than that. If you learn to become energetically aware and learn how to recognize and see hidden energy patterns, that's the missing link on how to make rapid and lasting change. How many of us have gone to, again, personal development seminars or motivational things, and you go there and you get excited and you get hyped up and you really want to make a change. But when you come back home, it lasts for a week or so, and then you're back to what you were before. Well, what you were before is what I call your energetic operating system. It's just like using the computers as the analogy, because they probably made the computers as a reflection of the human energy system. So all of us have an energetic operating system, and that involves all of our good stuff, and that involves the not so good stuff. And this is a missing link. Why you ever wonder, we know what we should do, but we don't do it. Or we know what it takes to get us where we want to go, but we end up doing the opposite. Somebody who wants to lose weight, why are they eating those donuts? Didn't you say you wanted to lose weight, right? Didn't you say you wanted to drop, a couple inches off your weight? Why are you eating those donuts? Well, because it feels good. I got to get back on my diet. So you see the disconnect between what the directions that people say they want and what they actually do. And nobody's ever been able to figure that out. What am I doing? I'm looking for my water. Here it is. Nobody's been able to figure that out. Why do people sabotage themselves? Why do people say they want one thing and they do the other? It's been one of the mysteries of behavior. And in energy awareness training, it's really clear. It's really clear why you do things that aren't good for you. You don't do the things that that are good for you. And it's because how these energies work. And how these energies work internally inside you is how the energies work externally too. And that's what we're going. Those of you who are coming on, welcome. We're doing today's class on the coronavirus, the impact that it's having. I'm going to give you some tools energetically and physically on how to protect yourself from that. So I got lots of stuff to share with you. Right now, I'm going over the basics of energy awareness training so that you have a context to understand as we start identifying the energetic patterns of the coronavirus. Now, remember I said we had an energetic operating system. Okay, the energetic operating system is our blueprint. Just like you have a software system, whether it's a Mac, on an Apple or Windows, on a Microsoft, they have certain characteristics and they work in certain ways. Now, all of us have come into this world, using that analogy, with a great operating system, but we all have viruses. What do I mean by a virus? We all have things in our lives that don't work or that we wish we didn't have. Thoughts, habits, behaviors, emotions, stuff that disrupt our life, stuff that we're dealing with, baggage, issues. What's an issue? An issue is an unresolved situation or behavior that you just keep trying time and time again to overcome, and you're not able to do that. So then what's the solution that the world has offered? Well, we go into counseling and you learn where it came from, or if you do psychiatry, they can prescribe, anti-anxiety drugs for this. You do personal development stuff, you think positively about it, but no one has addressed the real cause, which is the energetic aspect of this. And I believe that that's the power and the groundbreaking work of what I've done, what I've created here, is to really identify the energetic patterns. Now, excuse me, what I want to share with you, especially if you're new, is that everything in life has an energetic pattern underneath it that drives. So these energy patterns, or energy frequencies, whatever you want to call them, they're invisible. But one of the energetic laws that we deal with, or the energetic principles, so to speak, that I teach in my training, is that the invisible drives the visible. The invisible drives the visible. So much of the energy, which in the iceberg analogy is 90%, you can't see it. You can't see it, but you can sure feel it. So, for example, take relationships, for example. When everything's going great, and when you're sharing love and you're sharing love and romance, you can't see that energy. You can't see what they're feeling, but they can feel it. And as they feel it, they demonstrate that in the physical world. You can see that by holding hands or embracing or kissing, that kind of thing. So for a business, all businesses, remember what we said, business is an energy. And for you businessmen, learning energy awareness gives you the leading edge over your competition, because you're able to recognize what drives business. Now, what drives business? The same thing that drives relationships, energy. There's an energy to every business. There's an energy to people, places, things, activities, etc. And there's an energies to the coronavirus too that we're going to examine here in a minute or two. So talking about business, most business people can't see, unless they're trained, the hidden energies. All they can do is see whatever energy that business is the results of it. So if that business is doing great, and if it's making money, and if it's prosperous, nobody complains, right? Because that's what it's supposed to be. But if you're energetically aware, you recognize that is the result of the hidden energies that are driving that business. And those energies are made up, of course, of people, places, things, activities. But again, the invisible drives the visible. Now, if that business isn't prosperous, if that business is struggling, then the energetic flow is of a different nature. It's flowing what I call low frequency energy, or energy that is not prosperous, and the prosperity energy is blocked. Now, that's an important thing, especially when you're looking for solutions. Whether it's you're in relationships and you're at a standstill, you don't know whether you should stay together or divorce. If you're in a business, you don't know if you'd stay doing this business or you should cut your losses, etc. The prime success you're going to have in making a decision is going to be based on the energy. Now, even though you try to fix everything in the physical world, okay, remember, according to our iceberg analogy, that's your 10%. When I work with people, I do consultants for businesses, and I do relationship work, but I do it from an energetic perspective. They've already done all the physical stuff that they needed to do to try to find a solution. But what they haven't tried is they haven't tried identifying what these invisible energy patterns are, how they work, and how they can be realigned so that the relationship with the business can function. And that's what I do, identify these hidden energy patterns. And we all have them. That's why this work is so interesting, because everything that we're dealing with is in energy. Even sports, that's a great example of how energy works. You have a team, and let's say you have a football game, and the first half, one team is running over the other one at like 30-0, and you think, wow, it's a blowout. And then the next half, the team that was getting trounced all of a sudden comes alive and trounces the other team that was strong in the first half. And you think, well, what happened? What happened there? I mean, you had the same two teams, the same stadium, the same crowd, and yet in one instance, they're getting a certain result. And yet, in the next time, in the next frame, the next half, you're getting a different result. That's a prime example of people going, well, how did that happen? How did it happen? The energy changed. The energy changed. And that's what we're going over today, especially when we get into the coronavirus, and things are changing right and left here. And the cool thing about being energetically aware is what I do is I teach you how to recognize these hidden energy patterns before they become obvious to everyone, and before you have to make a decision on which way you're going to go. So when you become energetically aware, you learn how to see patterns, frequencies, and you learn which direction they have a tendency to go. Now, some of these patterns are really obvious. You don't have to be a genius to figure that out, but a lot of them are hidden, and a lot of them are camouflaged in ways that it's not obvious. In fact, you have to know how they work to be able to identify them. But what would be the value if you're about to date someone and you're able to read them energetically and know, based on that energy, where that relationship's going to go, if it's going to last, if it's going to be the person that you want to be with, if it's going to be something that you want to invest time and emotions and your life into. Would that be valuable? You should better believe it. How about if you're in a business and you have to make a decision? Should I buy from this manufacturer or should I buy from that manufacturer? Or should I get into this aspect or this niche, or et cetera? Wouldn't it be helpful to be able to read the energies around that? Because remember when I said all energy has a power, a purpose, a frequency, a direction, and it gives off information. And when you train yourself to be able to recognize that, as I do, which is my work, you're able to have a secret weapon, so to speak, a superpower, a sixth sense, to be able to see things that most people don't see, because most people aren't energetically trained and energetically aware to be able to see how things work. And the ones who are able to see 10, 20, 30, 40, 50% more of the reality taking place than people who aren't do. So would that be advantage? So many of you say it is, and that's why I've been teaching energy awareness training, in my group classes and in my private students all over the world. We have the whole globe being represented here, people from Europe and Asia and overseas. So welcome everybody, glad you're here. Again, if you're new, if you come in just the last few minutes, if you just give me a shout out on the chat here, just say hi, tell me where you're from, tell me if you understood this first portion that I just explained about energy awareness. If you have any questions about it or anything I'd like to cover before I go into today's topic, that would be great. This is an exchange here. It's an interactive broadcast, so I welcome your comments, welcome your feedback on anything we're doing in the broadcast. And so that covers our first aspect of basic energy awareness. And I'll end this part by saying what Tesla was talking about when he was talking about energy and frequencies is he was identifying, that was the first step of identifying all things as energy and they have characteristics. In my work, I've not only identified these things, but I've also been able to classify what he talked about in terms of how the frequencies work. So today, as we continue on with the class and talking about the viruses and its emotional and energetic effect on people, I'm going to be talking to you in terms of identifying the hidden energies. Now, there are a multitude of hidden energies, hundreds of hidden energies in us, but they can be classified as what Tesla said, and we'll use the terms today, high frequency or light frequency. I sometimes say high vibration, but today I'm going to say light frequency or high frequency and dark frequency or low frequency. So this is going to give you, those of you who are students of mine who've been following me for a while, this is going to be a new way to really understand how the energies work. So the light frequency energies are the energies of peace, of wholeness, of movement, of order. Okay, that's the light frequency energies. The dark frequency energies are the energies of chaos, of uprooting, of division, of dissension, of lack, of chaos, of anxiety, stress, etc. So in this world that we live in this energetic world, there's a principle I teach called the Law of Duality, or the Law of Polarity, which means if there's light, there's dark. If there's up, there's down. If there's good, there's bad. If there's right, there's wrong. If there's male, there's female, etc. So in order to navigate this world, it's very important for you to recognize these polar opposites, because I teach that we live in a binary world, binary meaning two. Very important number 2. And as you're going to see in the classes as we continue, there are always two things taking place simultaneously. Or another way of saying it is that we live in a multidimensional world. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, simply it means that our operating existence is in a 3 to 4 dimensional world that we live in. But science says that we live in 10, 11, maybe even 12 or more dimensions. So if that's the case, then just, being a walk around Joe and Jane, normal person, you're only accessing your information based on 3 or 4 dimensions. And that means you're missing out on another 7 to 8. So that's one of the reasons why we make mistakes and why a lot of our lives are filled with suffering, because we nobody goes into like a relationship, thinking it's going to blow up. You get into it because you think, well, okay, he's a nice person. I think I can trust him. They look good on paper. And you don't really know how that's going to work out until you get involved, right? And then if it doesn't work out, as so many of them don't, it's not until you've been, in this thing for months or maybe even years, and you go, hey, this isn't what I signed up for. And you get out and you end it and you have heartbreak, and then you go, hey, if only I had known then what I know now, I never would have done this. Or, you make a business deal or get involved in working for a company or purchasing a product or something. And in the beginning, it looks great. It looked good on paper, right? Looked good on paper. But once you got involved with it, you saw things that you didn't see in the beginning. Because hindsight's 20/20, and then afterwards, if it doesn't work out, you think, I shouldn't have done this. Well, what was I thinking, etc. You got the regret. Well, wouldn't it be more advantage to know what's going to take place before you buy it, or before you get involved, or before you commit to it? So this is how, if you become energetically aware, you're able to see these things now, and especially with the coronavirus. I'm going to be illustrating everything I just taught you is going to apply to when we go over the coronavirus, because you're going to see how this fits the perfect energetic picture of what I just explained to you. And one last thing I'll mention, the frequencies, light frequency or high frequency energy. That's the energy of positivity, of expansion, of joy, of abundance, of blessing. That's the energy that we were born into. That's the energy that we all want to be in. But living in a world of duality or polarity, knowing that there's always two things happening. If there's a high, there's a what, gang? A low. And our chaos comes and our hard times come when we're dealing with the dark frequencies energies, also known as chaos energies. And these chaos energies, these energies that we're dealing with, they operate internally inside us, and they operate externally into the world. So much of our existence here is trying to stay out of the dark frequency energies and move into the light frequency energies. And yet so much of the time we find ourselves in the dark energies. Well, why is that? Well, we're going through that here in energy awareness training. It's the ability to be aware and the ability to read these hidden energies. I'll repeat it again, because everything has a power, a purpose, a direction, a frequency, and it gives off information. And this is so important. We should have been taught this when we were kids, that there's an underlying energetic frequency that drives everything we see in the physical world. And if we don't know about that, or we disregard it, we're missing out on, you fill in number 60, 70, 80% of the knowledge that we could have on how to navigate this world. Because this world is full of booby traps. I don't have to tell you that. You've stepped into them. I've stepped into them. We got into something that we thought was one thing and ended up to be another. So this is the basic outline of how these energies work. Now, the high vibration energy, you can use the word light, or you can use the word positive. That energy creates more of the same, creates more high vibration energy. So when you're around high frequency or light frequency people, happy, joyous, free, having a great time, that rubs off on you, right? You're around people who are making things happen and having fun and doing stuff. That's contagious. I spent 3 days in San Diego last weekend with about 2,000 of the most high frequency people, and it was contagious, man. I was so jacked. I flew out of there. It's called High Performance Experience, a great 3 days. And as a high vibration energy being, I'm constantly every day working to stay in high vibrational energy, whether it's the exercises I do or that I teach, whether it's being with other high vibration energy people, or whether it's going to events like this. Remember, high vibration attracts more high vibration. Okay, good. Now let's go with the low. It's the same thing with the low. You're around people who are down, who are depressed, or who are negative like this. It doesn't take long before they start to rub off on you, right? It's like, it's like, how are you doing? Oh, I got a headache, and I got a lot, and you're like, okay, well, have a nice day, right? See ya. So that's what we want to be aware of. Now, that's basic energy awareness training. I like hanging out with the positive people. I don't like hanging around with the negative people, right? That's basic energy awareness 101. But it goes so much deeper than that. But at least you know that these energetic laws and principles, that they work. Okay. Any questions on anything I've covered up to this point? You guys are, even if this is the first time you've ever heard me speak, at least you have a working view of how the energies work. Let me just scan this. Oh, let's work in here. Hey, you guys. Cool. Hey, Michael, how you doing? Nikki, thanks. I like this shirt too. Okay. My friend Babar from Pakistan, we got Pakistan in the house today. It says coronavirus is really making people greedy. People are selling surgical masks to 2,000% more price. The panic is making masks disappear. Okay, now let's move into that. Let's move into the coronavirus. Okay. So first off, for you new energy awareness training students, can you feel when I say coronavirus? Whoa, can you feel that energy when you hear it on the news? Coronavirus. It shakes you up. Now, based on what I just taught you, is that feeling a light frequency or a dark frequency? It's a dark frequency. How do we know? Because when you think about it and you feel it, it's kind of like a creepy feeling, a feeling of dread. Now, they just announced in the news last night that they had their first fatality, the first person passed from the coronavirus up in Washington. How does that feel? Yeah. And so notice what takes place. Notice what takes place internally inside you when you think about this. I don't know, man. Something could happen. This thing could get out of hand. I wonder if it's going to have an effect. Notice it puts you in a state of low frequency or dark frequencies where you're kind of shut down, where you're defensive. You're certainly not happy, joyous, and free, which is the light energy, right? That has a tendency to pull you in a direction. And as it pulls you in a direction, just thinking about it. So you think about it and notice the thoughts in your mind. Now, one other thing I want to mention to you, if you never heard this before, is that in all human beings, there's a part of their thinking process. A lot of people call it different things: the ego mind, the inner judge, the inner critic, the inner saboteur. I call it the destructor factor, which is a part of our thinking that automatically shifts to the negative. Oh my gosh, what if this happens? You've heard it. We all heard it. It's the same voice that says, you're not worthy. You don't deserve it. You're never going to be successful. The kids don't like you. There's something wrong with you. That it's kind of like this internal force that just beats you up all the time. You're just sitting there, and you're thinking, and it just kind of invades your thoughts. You guys know what I'm talking about? Anybody not have that inside your head? We all do. And that's why we have to really fight every day. Sometimes it's easier, but sometimes it's not, to be happy. Sometimes we have to fight to be positive. Sometimes we have to fight to overcome that heaviness, which you now know is an energy, the heaviness of, another day, gotta go to work. Oh, what's the use? I'm in the rat race. That's an energy. And the liberation about learning energy awareness training is it's not you. That energy, that dark frequency energy is not you. It's not who you were created to be. How do I know? You look at kids. You look at little kids coming in. They're relatively new to the planet. You notice that they have a demeanor about themselves, always happy. It's like a program. Happy, happy, happy. And even if they fall and scrape their knee and cry for a minute, they're 5 minutes later, they're into happy, happy, happy. It's like there's a program of happiness inside them. It's the beauty of children, and little children at play don't have a care in the world, right? You never see a kid worrying about his 401k plan, or wondering, how he's going to pay for his car repair. You never see that, do you? The kids are just always happy. But as we grow and we get older and we start to move forward in life, that happiness program shifts, and this ego mind, so to speak, awakens. And then we become aware of good, bad, right, wrong, up and down, the world of duality. And then the ego of me, mine, it's my ball, you can't play with, all that stuff with kids, the move from being happy beings into sometimes being brats, right? I know I was one, was called one. I want what I want, etc. So that's the point I'm making, is that's our natural state. So these energies, And it's so important when we're talking about coronavirus. These energies that operate internally, they approach us, they attack us every day. So you can be feeling great at a moment. You can say, hey, it's the weekend, it's Sunday, I could go to do anything I want this afternoon, feeling great. And then you get a thought that says, yeah, but what about this thing tomorrow? What about that client who might leave? What about when's that check going to come? Or am I going to be able to make rent this month? It just some kind of boom, energy comes in. It just kind of sabotages, just kind of like, ugh, spoils your day. Well, these energies are constantly influencing us, and they show up. And the light frequency energy has a power, a purpose, a frequency, a direction. It gives off information. So let's go over that. It has a power. The high vibration energy frequencies have the power to lift us up, to make us feel good, to strengthen us, to empower us, to move towards our ideal life, our ideal vision. And that's its purpose, to have us move in expansion. It has a direction. What's the direction? To move up, to move out. It has a frequency, certainly an energetic frequency or an energetic signature, and it gives off information. What's the information that the light energies give us? That I can be what I want to be, that I'm unlimited, that I can make a decision and that I can be happy and have a great fulfilled life. So as I move in that energy, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling powerful. I'm feeling free. I'm feeling connected, and I'm feeling a oneness with all of life. Well, flip it over. Let's go to the dark frequency energies, the dark vibration energies. That has a power. What's the power? It has the power to pull you out of high vibration energy. It has the power to do that, and that's what its purpose is, to block you from moving into your full potential and your full sense of happiness self. Power, purpose, frequency. Yes, it's the frequency of darkness. It's the frequency of weakness. It's the frequency of fear. Okay? Power, purpose, frequency, direction. What direction does that energy want to take you? It wants to take you right down. And what information is it feeding you? It's feeding you information that you're limited, that you're messed up, there's something wrong with you, that you can't have what you want, that life sucks, and then what's the point of it all? That's the kind of information that low vibration or that dark energy is feeding you. So we're constantly, every day that we live, getting bombarded with these energies, with these frequencies, right? Now, if you don't know what these frequencies are, and again, it goes a lot deeper than this, but I'm, for the purpose of the new people and explaining this, I'm just trying to be as general as possible. If you don't know that these are frequencies, and that when you have a thought that says, gee, is life worth living? I don't know, man. Maybe it's just not. That's not your thought. That these energies can infiltrate, can hack into our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, and make us think that its thoughts are our thoughts. And as a result, it's kind of a hypnotic trance you get into. I'm not worthy. I can't have what I want. Life sucks. Is life worth living? And slowly, what's the direction? It's taking me down. And how far down does it want to take you? It'd like to take you all the way down. If it can get you to check yourself out, do yourself in, it scores a bullseye from the dark forces. Okay, well, we don't want that. And no one ever explained to us how these things work. Now, these things are explained in the deep mystery books of the deepest spiritual traditions of what I'm saying to you. Not in this language, but in their own language. So I'm kind of translating it because my work is an accumulation of different science, different in personal development stuff, different energies, and different wisdom traditions putting together to be able to make sense of this. Now, again, don't believe anything I'm telling you. Look into your own experience to see, is that true? Do you have those kind of thoughts in your head? Do you have these kind of feelings? Is there an inner tug of war sometimes that you're going through? Have you looked for solutions? Have you done stuff that you've regretted? We all have. So energy awareness training is the observation of subjective experience. It's the observation that All human beings seem to go through the same thing. Why is that? Good question. And these are the answers to it, of how these energies work. Now, segueing into the corona thing. By the way, is this making sense? For those of you, just come on, shoot me a hi on the chat if you would, and say, hey, Glenn, I'm with you. Or Glenn, I don't know what you're talking about. Whatever it is, I'd love to hear from every single one of you. It helps me. If you're getting value from this, I want to give you as much value. You can help me by saying hi on the chat or giving any questions that you have about this. Okay, water break. Now, I know that if you're new to this work, you got 100 questions. Well, how does that work? You mean the energies can hack into my head? How does that work? And why does that work? And I'm like this, and I go through all this stuff, in my other classes, and I teach the full gamut of energy awareness training from start to finish in my classes. These classes for me, I'm trying to pick something in the news. And those of you who are already students of mine or thinking about being students or wondering, what it is that I'm doing, so I can give you something to empower you, something to have you ponder that can expand whatever you're doing in life, and hopefully with the encouragement to study energy awareness training, because it's the most important thing we're dealing with. Everybody on this call or hears my voice is dealing with energy. You were dealing with energy before you got on the call, and when we get off the call, you're going to be dealing with energy afterwards. So wouldn't it make sense to know what you're dealing with, so that either you're controlling the energy or those dark energies are controlling you? It's one of the two. All right, so let's talk about this thing, this coronavirus for a minute, and let's get some perspective on it. Okay, so we can see, things like this crop up pretty regularly. It seems that every year or two, there's some kind of virus or some kind of sickness that has the ability to threaten the planet and to get everybody kind of concerned and kind of like, whoa. Do you remember, it wasn't too long ago, about 6 months ago, there was a fire epidemic, especially in Australia. You remember that? And then there were fires here. It's like the whole world's on fire. Fires down here, fires in Northern California, fires here. I mean, it's like at one point there was like 200 fires going on here on the West Coast. 200 of them. How'd that happen? Why did that happen? It never happened before. What's the deal with that? A mystery. It just cropped up. It threatened it, and it did its damage. It's an example of definitely dark frequency energy. And if you notice, it kind of had the same characteristics that I talk about internally. It comes out of nowhere. It's not a regular pattern. It's just something that it appears. 2 or 3 years ago, we had the Ebola. Remember the Ebola? Was it 2 or 3, maybe longer than that? We had the Ebola scare. Ebola was coming up and could be an epidemic, and there were deaths reported with this, and the whole world was like, oh, geez, we got this thing. Where'd that come from? Where did it come from? Where did these things come from? According to energy awareness training, the same thing that happens to us internally about these dark energies also appears in the world. We have things appearing. They just, they appear. The visible comes from the invisible. So a lot of it has to do with the consciousness. A lot of it has to do with what's happening in the world. You can't say that all the stuff, that what we've been doing to the environment, isn't going to come back to us. The rape of the land, the fires, the dumping of garbage in the oceans. I mean, you can only abuse a living entity, whether it's a person, whether it's an animal, or whether it's, you can only abuse a living form so much before it's going to react. And that reaction is usually going to be in low frequency energy or in dark energy. That's what we seem to see now. Okay, so first thing is to get, let's say, oh, here's something else that comes up. It's not a surprise for me You can, if you read energetic patterns, you can kind of see things happen on this planet on a regular basis. That's the way that these energies work. They appear kind of out of nowhere. And what do? Now let's go back to what I taught you in the first half hour of the class, especially about the frequencies. So what do? We identified dark frequencies, or dark frequencies, or low frequency energies, as being the stuff that we don't want. And these frequencies create chaos. They create disruption. They create distraction. They create lack. They create anxiety. They create stress. Now, that's not just the energies inside us. Those are the energies that are taking place out in the world also. So look at what the coronavirus has done. It's caused massive disruption in the world. It's virtually shut down the economic systems of China and Hong Kong, and spreading to other Asia countries. Companies are shut down. Is that going to have an effect on the planet? You bet it is. I mean, to have airlines shutting down and not being able to operate. So you can see right there, looking at energetic wise, what kind of energy is that? It's a dark energy. It's a lack. It's a limitation. It's causing disruption and distraction. Now, that energy is starting to spread, and is spread over here into the West. So what everybody thought was just going to be an Asian problem now is being discovered. It's Australia, and it's come here to America. So just talking economically, how can it not have an effect on us? And one of the things about energy awareness is to recognize, if you see a dark energy pattern taking place, unless that energetic pattern is neutralized, and that means either out in the world or inside yourself, that energetic pattern is going to spread, because that's what energy does. It spreads. All energy is expanding, and it expands and it contracts, and it expands more and it contracts more, and it works in cycles. So the energies themselves, you can see that's a low frequency energy that's expanded now across the oceans, and now taking place here in the United States. So not only is having an economic effect now, because they're roughly reported as of this morning, 70 cases of coronavirus in the United States. 70 cases, 1 fatality up in Washington. Now, what do you think the situation up in Washington is? Well, the governor up there just declared a state of emergency, and they've shut down the schools, and people are in quarantine. What is that? It's disruptive. It's chaotic. It's uprooting. What kind of energy is that? Dark energy. What do we know about the energies? That they're constantly expanding. So one of the things that we do know is that as this takes place, that energy is going to keep expanding, and people are alarmed about it, and that's good. You should be alarmed about it. No, but here's the thing. Let me take that back. You should be aware of it, but not be alarmed by it. And that's the difference about energy awareness, is that you recognize what these energetic patterns are. But the difference between the light vibration and the dark vibration is the dark vibration is reactive. So when there are problems taking place, there's the problem itself, or the condition itself, and there's the reaction to the problem. There's the reaction to what happened. You know, here in California in 1906, there was a major earthquake. And it was a big one. It was a big earthquake. And yet, where was the majority of the damage done? By the fires that were ignited after the earthquake. It wasn't the earthquake itself. It was the aftermath of the reaction that people had towards what took place. And we can see that in a lot of different instances. So just politically, for example, President Nixon with the Watergate thing, they had the Watergate break-in. Okay, it was a mistake, shouldn't happen. It was an illegal thing. If Nixon had just said, "Hey, these are guys on my committee, they shouldn't have done that. I'm firing everybody. I'm taking full responsibility. I apologize, and it'll never happen again." If he had done that, he would still be president, or not still be, but he would have still been president then. But it's the reaction that we get that causes a lot of the suffering that takes place. So what we have here is we have a country, maybe even a world, that's in mass reaction to what they're hearing, to the coronavirus. Now, I say be proactive, not reactive. Okay? So what happens is when you hear this stuff on the news, if you're not energetically aware, there's an energy that gets ignited, that is created. Oh man, coronavirus, man, hope it doesn't come here. Maybe I better not shake hands with people. Maybe I better not. I mean, there's a lot of people are not going to restaurants. I mean, there's a lot of people who aren't even traveling. Right down the street where I live in is a major shopping hub of it's a fashionable district here on Melrose Avenue. And it's mainly populated by Asian tourists, not just Chinese, but Japanese and different Asian countries. Place is deserted down there. Deserted. Nobody down there. Is that going to have an effect on the shopkeepers, on the economies? So what you have here is energy creates more of the same. And especially low vibration energy creates more low vibration energy. And if you don't want it to affect you, the first thing that you have to do is to become energetically aware and make the commitment to stay in a light frequency, in a high frequency or a high vibration energy, no matter what's going on, and to be able to protect yourself. Now, does that make sense? Now you're going to say, well, how do I do that? Okay, right at the end of this broadcast, I'm going to go through a 5-minute exercise to give you some energetic tools to be able to stay in alignment. When you panic, when you worry, when you're in fear and your anxiety, you're in the clutches of that dark frequencies. And if you're not energetically aware, and since most people aren't, people are freaking out, and notice that when you hear about this, there's a tendency to have something ignited inside you, a feeling, coronavirus, Washington, one person succumbed, Washington under quarantine. There's a party that goes, oh man, what does it come here? Right? And what is that? That's a dark frequency or a low vibration. And if you don't cleanse that energy, it's going to expand. One of the things that I teach is that it's so important to learn how to clean your energy. Won't discuss it in this class. I have other classes that I talk about that one. But essentially, it's like your body. Every day when we go out in the world, we get sweaty, we get dirty. So we come home, what do? We take a shower or take a bath, we clean the energy off. Now, what happens if you skip a day or 2 days and you don't clean that energy? You make it, I should have. A week goes by and you don't clean. Well, not only do you have a problem, but everybody around you's got a problem too. Well, what we were never taught is that we have an energetic body, a place inside us that's invisible, but we can still feel it. When you're stressed out, or you're in anxiety or worry, you can't put that in a basket, say, well, listen, here's my anxiety, here's the energy. No, it's invisible, but you can sure feel it. So energy awareness training acknowledges and identifies what those energies are, and then it says, look, just like, hey, my mom used to say, Did you take a bath? Yeah, Ma, I took a bath. And she comes over and says, yeah, you didn't get this part. You missed under the ears. You get like that. It's the same thing with our energy. Whatever we don't clear or clean or cleanse will continue to expand and wreak havoc inside us. So I'm going to encourage everybody to become energetically aware and get that no matter what you hear, you're always in charge of your energy. You're always in charge of the way you want to feel, the way you want to operate. And it's up to you whether your energy is in alignment or whether it's out of alignment. And one of the things I teach my students is that every day you make a decision, either you're going to run your energy into light frequency, into high vibration, or the dark energies will be happy to run your energy for you, free of charge. But if the dark energies run you, it's going to bring dark energy, chaos, anxiety, suffering, worry, doubt, fear. You see what I mean? That's what it means to be energetically aware. All right, now I want to go into some tips on dealing with that coronavirus, and I'm just going to check the chat here for any questions, anything anybody wants to say. Cool. Hey, Katrina, thank you. Pierre, hey. Good. Pierre, great to see you. Nikki, you can't hear me. Does anybody else can't hear me? Let me know, because I'm talking pretty loud. All right, any other comments, questions? Now, Dr. Babar Ahmed brought up a really good point. So we recognize that because of this coronavirus, that conditions have shifted, that there's a new energy. So from calmness, now there's an energy of worry. There's an energy of panic. There's an energy of dread. Now that's an energy. Now, it's pretty obvious now, but let's take it a couple of weeks ago when this came on. I teach a lot of business people, corporate people and CEOs who want to learn energy awareness training. And one of the things that they're really interested in is looking for trends and for energies that can describe what's about to take place in the marketplaces. Would that be valuable to know what trends are coming on or what energies are taking place? So, I got the call about almost a month ago when this first came on the horizon. And my advanced students who are business people also said, oh, we're seeing this energy take place. Okay. So to make it simple, what kind of energy is it? Low vibration energy or low dark frequency energy. What's the potential? The potential is to have a global scare or to have people, panicking and all of a sudden being afraid for their health. Okay. If that's the case, then how would that apply to the stock market? Those business people. This is one of the things that everybody should know. Talk about energy. The stock market is so susceptible to the slightest bit of dark energy, the slightest rumor of dark energy. The stock market plummets and costs investors lots of money. Why? Because the prevailing feeling is if I don't feel safe and secure, I'm worried. And if I'm worried, things could go to hell in a handbasket. So I better sell and get out. That's an energy. Now, if you're reactive, it can cost you. If you're proactive, you can earn. So the smart people that I coached recognized that the potential for this was, a potential global scare. And they knew, as most investors know, that when there's any kind of disruption in the markets, the stock market has a tendency to plummet, as it does pretty regularly. Well, if you shorted stock from that, and that's public information, you can read about it in the papers, but if you're energetically aware and you go, some major low frequency dark energy coming in, I'm going to profit from that. There are people who've already made millions of dollars just from stock moves. People have made millions of dollars moving into stuff like what Barbara talks about, masks or respiratory stuff. I mean, it's flying off the shelves. Why? Because if you can see where the energies are headed, which is energies, which creates energy, creates reality. So if you can see what reality is in the process of taking place, and you get there before everyone else does, because they're not energetically aware, you can profit enormously. So this is why the business community is really interested in and actively learning energy awareness training. So if you're in a business, I would behoove you to be energetically aware. All right, I think that answered that question here. Okay, great. Okay, so let me just tell you how I'm dealing with it. Okay, so far, Southern California, we're good. But one of the things that I do regularly, and this is a tip I want to give you, I want to just give you some holistic tips on how to deal with this, because I think this will help everybody on the call. First off, the corona is a virus, just like the flu virus, just like getting a cold. And these viruses, what they do when they're around us, when we're exposed to them, the only way they can hurt us is if it attaches to our head and it gets in our respiratory system. So let's just take the flu, for example. In order for you to get the flu, the flu virus has to be in or around your face or your head, and you have to breathe it in, because the virus can only expand. There's a specific thing they call it there. The dictionary describes a virus as tiny bits of nucleic acid that contain information. Oh, where'd you hear that before? That contain information and use your body cells to create more copies of itself. So that has to get inside your nose and then to start expanding on it. So one of the things that I do every day, just to keep from getting a cold or a flu, is I use lemon. I have a big supply of lemons, and I take a 8-ounce glass of juice and I squeeze the lemons, squeeze it just so there's a lot of lemon, just a big slice. Mix it around, drink it, and snort it. Why? Because lemon kills germs. Lemon is a solvent. So if it's a solvent, and if the viruses can only replicate in your respiratory system, then I'm going to snort and keep the lemons, keep cleaning the germs inside my sinuses and my nasal patterns. So I told that somebody that, and they go, "How do you snort it?" I just take a glass of water. I don't know, I have one here. I just take a glass of water, go like this, and just go like that, and then drink. Swig it, gargle with it, let it go. Now, you're going to feel it when you do that. You're going to feel that for the next 10, 15 minutes, you're going to feel a sinus drain of any junk that's in there. Usually comes out in your throat and in your saliva. Now, that's a holistic remedy that I use to deal with, flus and colds, and they work. Now, somebody say, well, is it scientifically proven? By the way, I'm not making any medical claims. I'm just sharing with what I do, as an energy teacher for this. But if you Google it, you're going to see that on Science News at the German Cancer Research Center, I think it was in 2005, said they did experiments that said lemon can be used as a safe and harmless disinfectant against nanoviruses. So for you, one great way you can alleviate a lot of worry about this is to be snorting the lemon juice a couple times a day. I do in the morning, I do it at night, and drinking it regularly. Now, other stuff that works as well is a thing called colloidal silver. That is another way to be able to disinfect the viruses and clean clean it up. And a couple other things, echinacea and elderberry. So as I researched this to be able to share this with you today, those are all natural remedies. They're not drugs. They're all natural substances that can help you combat these viruses and stay healthy. Again, no medical advice. Consult your physician for any questions about that. That's just something naturally that I'm doing to deal with this. Also keep antibacterial soap, and I keep it in the house, and I keep the bacterial wipes with me, in my briefcase or whenever I travel. See, what did I just do? If your hands aren't clean and you touch yourself like this, it gets the germs and the viruses around your face. But we're usually in the habit of touching our faces, just a scratch here or a nose here, etc., like that. So that's why it's so important to make sure that you use antibacterial soap on that. And whatever else developments there are, I'll be happy to share them with you. But that's something that I've been doing for a long time, and that can help everybody can do that. Snort the lemon, drink it. One thing I'll mention to you, the lemon is such a strong solvent that it can erode the enamel in your teeth. So every time I drink the lemon water and gargle with it, I always rinse my mouth out just to make sure it doesn't stick on my on my enamel. Okay, that's what I'm doing that I want to share with you, and I'm confident. I've been doing this thing for years now, and I haven't gotten a cold or a flu, and there have been times when I thought, I'm gonna by the grace of God and the grace of lemon, I didn't get it. So that's something I recommend to everybody on this. Okay, any questions about that as I take my last water break here? You guys learning something here? Give me a little bit of feedback. Is this of interest to you? You guys learning something? Vadim says, glass of warm water with lemon and honey in the morning, in the evening. Good to clean your system. Great. You can add a little honey too. Everybody likes a little honey. Now, here's a question. Okay, Vadim's talking about investment. Also invest in the S&P 500 because it went down by 8%. Yeah, I don't see any stocks going up anytime soon. So I'm not an investment counselor, but I can see which way the wind blows. And you can see how energy awareness training is applicable in investments, in health, right? In romance. Everything that has to do with life is energy. And when you're aware of how the energies work, and it goes deeper, by the way, this is just the top level stuff I'm saying, because I have people here who aren't. With my students, I teach you how to detect energetic patterns that are hidden and that are camouflaged. And some of them, they look like light frequency patterns. That's when you become really energetically aware, because as I'm teaching you, the positive, the negative, okay, that's basic stuff, but it gets a lot more intricate as these energies work. So there's a lot in store for those of you who want to study formally energy awareness training from the beginning, because on the classes here, it's kind of like a hit and miss. I give you the basics, and I'm giving you the subject of the day. But if you want to learn and master this, we're happy to teach you with this. Contact us and let us know, and we'd be happy to give you information on how you can study energy awareness training and become a master or a mistress. Maybe a master on this. Why would you want to do that? Only if you want to be able to live your highest potential life. Only if you want to be able to see what most people don't see, and be able to see the other 40-50% of reality that you're walking right by right now. That's why so many influencers and thought leaders and personal development people in the online industry, as well as regular business people, are studying it. Because as we move into this century, energy, vibration, and frequency, it's going to be the new normal. Just like electric cars, not so much in the last century, now, they're going to be a big part of what we do. Space travel, going to be a part of what we do. Artificial intelligence, it's going to be a part of what we do. Folks, we're moving into a brand new world. It's a whole new world that we're living in. And there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to experience. But all of it, remember, is guided by energy. Artificial intelligence. Who programs the artificial intelligence? It's going to be someone. You're dealing with energy. Who's going to program the driverless cars, right? Who's going to be sending up the moon, the space travel? Ultimately, fundamentally, it's all energetically driven. And that's something that's really important for you in your growth. Okay, I'll take a couple more questions and then we'll end with the exercise I want to show you today. You're into natural remedies. Do you diffuse lemon or other essential oils as well? You know, I have. And I had the diffuser. I think my diffuser went on the blink. But that's a great way to do it too. Essential oils are fantastic. In fact, I'm sure I was using a lemon oil that was concentrated. So you can get concentrated lemon oil, and that's even more powerful. So there's a lot of natural remedies that you can use to protect yourself. And there are other people who are more experts than I am. Probably Katrina is probably more of an expert in learning how to do that right now. One guy says, what would happen if you, God forbid, caught the coronavirus? Okay. Well, if anybody, if you do, I show you how to do that, you probably won't. But, you know, if somebody did, then working on their energy and their immune system is vitally important. So, you know, I work with people who have a lot of physical challenges. I work with cancer patients. I work with people who are in stage 4 situations. And I've had some great results, because what being energetically aware does is that you're ramping up the immune system. And that's your biggest weapon in the fight against disease and the fight against sickness. It's a strong immune system. And let me tell you, hearing about the coronavirus depletes your energy system. Watch next time you hear about this. You know, there's probably going to be somebody else, God forbid, who's going to pass from this. When you're up on one passed from a coronavirus, just don't know how it feels inside. You're like, oh no, another one, like this. That depletes your immune system. All dark energies deplete your immune system. And that goes to thoughts in your head that are classified as dark energies. The I'm not worthy, the I'm not good enough, the I'll never be happy, the I can't get what I want. All of those thoughts have a power, a purpose, an energy, a frequency, and they give off information. So you better know what energy you're in. Folks, I'm telling you, what I teach my students is to recognize the energy patterns that you're in everywhere. What energy patterns? You walk into a place, what energy is it in? You're meeting somebody, what energy pattern are they in? You're getting in a car, or you're getting in a bus, or you're getting in a plane. What energies are you feeling on that? Right? Wouldn't that be of value? You bet it would. So eventually, as you start climbing and becoming more energetically aware, you click into autopilot. Whereas if you're in a high vibration energy field and you're vibrating high vibration energy, that energy tends to attract more high vibration energy situations, so that you're naturally used to being around high vibration energy people and situations, and because you naturally attract them to you, because that's what you're vibrating. Remember I said high frequency or light frequency attracts more light frequency, and dark frequency or low frequency attracts more low frequency. So excuse me. So if you're in the habit of putting yourself in vibration energy frequency every day or multiple times a day, as I do as I teach my students, you're going to automatically be attracting a high vibration or high frequency people, places, and things automatically. And it gets to the point where, if anything is ever low vibration, you can spot it in a microsecond because your energy field is operating at such a high place that you can recognize, whoa, what's this disruption here? It's so amazing. There are times when I can meet someone, I don't have to say a word. I can just get up low vibration energy here. Don't need to say a word, or walk into a place where I go, oh, low vibration energy place here. Now, that doesn't mean that the roof's going to come down or that person's going to, try to rob you or anything, God forbid. It just means that's what the energy tendencies seem to be. And if they tend, like for example, I hate to say this, but we're still talking about Kobe here in LA. Now, that helicopter pilot was right and knew how to drive a helicopter 99 out of 100 times. You would be safe with him. That's a pretty high percentage. 99 out of 100. But what happened that day? What happened was, down in Orange County, it was sunny. But as they started approaching, where they were going up in, I think it was Calabasas, or kind of north of Los Angeles, there was a big fog bank there. Now, if you're energetically aware, you recognize fog bank means you can't see. If you're a helicopter pilot, unless you have, autopilot gear in the helicopter, you got to rely on your eyes. Well, if you can't see, how can you rely on your eyes? Now, that pilot knew that he was flying into a fog bank. In fact, he talked to the radio guys and said, I'm flying into a fog bank. They warned him, don't do it. Don't go another way. Don't go over that. Now, if I had been in that helicopter, I would have made it my business to go, we're in a fog bank and there's no automatic equipment here. I probably would have raised holy hell on that, because you got to be aware. What did Kobe do? He just thought, well, the guy's 99 out of the last 100 times, everything's been safe. He seems to know what he's doing, so I guess trust the guy. Well, that one time that he didn't know what he was doing, what happened? Darkness. So these are clues. These are clues that people can see now. Well, he should have made that move. They could see that there were signs that if the pilot had been energetically aware or had taken advantage of the conditions that they were warning him to, maybe this thing could have been avoided. So I'm just here to tell you that every situation that we have, there's always clues. And I want you to be energetically aware to be able to see them, whether it's finance, romance, your own health, whatever it is. This is the teaching that I'm bringing to the world. Become energetically aware. Your life could depend upon it maybe someday. At least what it's going to do is going to open up new opportunities and new ways for you to avoid suffering, to avoid doing or being or having what you don't want, right? That's half a life, isn't it? Half a life is going after what we do want and staying away or avoiding what we don't want, right? It's the 50-50 thing. And remember, there's always two things happening. Everything that we're doing in the physical world creates an energetic direction, good, bad, or ugly. So recognizing that what we're doing in the physical world, like for example, just to wrap up this Corona thing, if we hear about it and we're afraid of it and we're scared that it could happen to us, and that's an energy that we're projecting. And we're going to project that to the people around you. You family people, you can project that to your spouse. You're going to project that to your kids. Why would you want to do that? what you want to do is you want to project, even in the midst of calamity, in the midst of challenge, and you want to be able to emit certainty. All is well right here, right now. Yeah, okay, something happened somewhere and this is going on over in China, but you know what? Right here, right now, it's all good and we're ready to move forward until we have a reason not to. That's what it means to be energetically strong. Okay, so one of the things I want to show you right now, just in the remaining few minutes that we have here in the class, is I want to show you, if you ever get stressed, excuse me, if you ever get stressed, to be able to get centered. So sometimes the thoughts overpower us so much that we're like, I'm thinking, what if this happens? What if that happens? What if this happens? Et cetera, et cetera. What is that? We're in our head, so to speak. We're listening to the thought. And thoughts can make us suffer. Did you know that? Of course you did. You ever wake up in the middle of the night and you're trying to get back to sleep and you can't because your mind's going 100 miles an hour? Or you're dealing with some kind of challenge or worry and the thoughts are going, what if this happens? What if that happens? What are you going to do then? Like the question, what if you get the corona? God forbid, what if you get the coronavirus? I didn't want to think of that question. You know, I'll deal with that if God forbid that ever happens. But you want to think about what you want, not what you don't want. And remember what I told you in the class. This class is full of nuggets. Hope each of you replay this class, because there's so much gold in here to be mined energetically. Remember that you got that part in your head and your thinking that wants to disrupt you, that wants to scare you, that wants to frighten you. Well, you have complete control over that. I do? Yeah, but no one ever told you that you did. So as long as you get your concentration out of your head and move it to your lower body, you can pull the plug on that destructive energy. Because because energy flows where attention goes. Whatever the direction of your energy is going to show you the power, the purpose, the frequency, the direction of it. So if you're in your head here, that's the place of thinking, of worry, of doubt, of fear. When you get out of your head, when you're not thinking, when you let energy move up and down your body, you're going to be in high vibrational energy, or at least diffuse a lot of what's taking place. So everybody, let's take one more minute here and let me show you a really cool exercise. It's called the energetic breath. Okay, so follow me if you would. Sit up in your chair, put your stuff down. And if you just watch me do this, it's not going to do you any good. So just take a couple minutes and just join me, okay? Sit up in your chair, close your eyes, and be aware of your head. Be aware of the space between your ears right now. And notice that there's a lot of thinking going on. All right, so let's take that point of concentration and let's move our concentration out from our head and let's focus on our tailbone. Let's focus our concentration on the bottom part of our spine, or tailbone. I call it the center point. Okay, just take a moment and concentrate on that being the focal point of your concentration. Now, feel the floor underneath your feet. Feel your butt in the chair or on the stool. And just be aware of your lower body. Just be aware of it. Be aware of the floor underneath your feet. Be aware of your legs. Be aware of your butt in the chair. Now, let's take an energetic breath. And the energetic breath is simply breathing through the nose for the count of 6, holding it for the count of 3, and exhaling for the count of 6. 6, 3, 6. Now, the only thing is, I want you to imagine that as you're breathing through your nose, that your nose is located at your center point. So you're going to be imagining that you're breathing from your center point, from that place around the bottom part of your spine. Okay, anywhere in that area is fine. Why do we do that? because energy flows where attention goes. If my attention is in my head, energy doesn't flow there. If my attention is in my center point, the bottom part of my spine, that's going to open up all the channels for my energy body. All right, here we go. Feel the floor underneath your feet. Tune into your center point. Let's breathe through the nose, 6-3-6. Let's begin slowly. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe low, 5, 6. Fill up the lungs at there. Hold it for the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Exhale loudly. Count of 6. Get all the air out. Good. Pause for a moment. About 5 seconds of silence. The gap between the thoughts. Good. Feel the floor underneath your feet. Feel your butt in the chair. Tune into your center point, the bottom part of your spine. Let's take another energetic breath. Breathe through the nose for the count of 6. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Big breath. Fill up the lungs at there. Hold it for the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Keep going. 5, 6. Get all the air out. Pause. Relax your shoulders. Sit up. Make sure your eyes are still closed. Just sit in silence for 5 seconds. It opens up the energy. Keep your head up. Good. Let's do another energetic breath. Again, being grounded. Feel the floor underneath your feet. Feel your butt in the chair. Feel your legs underneath your hands. Breathe through the nose, but imagine that your nose is at the bottom part of your spine. Here we go. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Big breath. Fill up the lungs at there. Hold it for the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Exhale slowly. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's right. Don't shoot your wad. Just go slowly. Get all the air out. Pause. Good. Be still. Be aware. Silence, stillness, space. Great. You're doing good. A few more of these. Feel the floor underneath your feet. Feel your butt in the chair. Tune into your bottom part of your spine. Imagine that your nose is there and breathe. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Big breath. Fill up the lungs at there. Hold it for the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Exhale slowly. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Get all the air out. Good. Pause. Be still. Keep your back straight. Be still. Be aware. In the gap between the thoughts, silence. That's right. Good. Let's do one more. Again, feeling the floor underneath your feet. We want to feel grounded. We want to feel connected to Mother Earth energy. That helps us get out of our head and get centered. Tune into your center point, the bottom part of your spine. And let's take an energetic breath. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe low, 5, 6. Big breath. Hold for the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Excellent. Good. Get all the air out. Now we're going to take 1 minute and just be in the silence, be in the space. So keep your head up, relax your shoulders, put your tongue on the roof of your mouth, put your palms up on your legs, and just relax, be still, be aware. Just 1 minute of silence, of space, of stillness. This creates light frequency energy. Here we go. 1 minute. Begin. That's right. 20 seconds. Be still, be aware. Quiet, silence, space. That is excellent. With your eyes closed, think of one thing that you're grateful for right now. How about your health? How about everybody would be really grateful for our health, and we don't take it for granted, and we are conscious and we're appreciative of our good health. Everybody, we're going to take one more energetic breath, and this time as we breathe in, we're going to expand the great feelings and the energies of being healthy. All right, here we go. And tune into your center point. Feel the floor underneath your feet. Everybody take a big, delicious breath. Here we go. Inhale. 1 for the count of 6. 2, 3, expanding your health. 4, 5, expanding the energy of health. 6, feeling healthy, happy, healthy. 1, 2, 3, exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Excellent. Get all the air out. Nice. Everybody, leaving with everybody with the feeling of gratitude and grace for their health. On the count of 3, go ahead and open your eyes. 1, 2, 3. That's something that you can do. It takes less than 5 minutes to get out of your head, to get centered, to connect, to ground yourself, and to start moving energy. Okay, what do we do? 5 breaths. You do 10, it feels even better. But always after, take that 1 minute or 2 minutes and just sit in silence just for a moment before the mind starts yakking. Because as you sit in silence, it creates a light frequency energy that makes you feel real good. Okay, any last questions or comments before we call it a class? Hope you guys got a lot out of this. This is breaking information. And it's the latest research that I did looking and doing the research all day yesterday and last night. So with that, I'm going to wish everybody a great rest of the day. Stay in high vibrational energy. Now, remember, we have a YouTube channel where this will be posted on. And if you came in late, this will be on my Facebook page here for the next week or so. So if you missed the first part of this, it'll be posted probably in about 10, 15 minutes. And you can watch the beginning because I went methodically, step by step, on how energy works, energy awareness works inside of you. Then we correlated to how the coronavirus works externally, and we made the correlation of that. I gave you tools, specifically physical tools, stuff that you can do to protect yourself. And we finished with an exercise on how to get yourself energetically realigned and feeling good. Hope this helped. Remember, you can always contact me on Messenger. If you want to learn more about energy awareness training, you can contact me here on Messenger or go to my website, energyawarennesstraining.com, energyawarennesstraining.com. Okay, you guys, thanks for everything. Question came on. Merci, great. You're very welcome. Love, blessings to everybody. And until we meet again next week, stay in the high vibration energy. Bye for now.